We're on live.
Where's the intro? Where was the?
Oh,
where was
wait, hold on. Here we go. That's the way we roll. Just on the fly. Good morning and good afternoon for those who are watching in Dubai, the Emirates, around the world. And that's the morning. And in the afternoon in Australia, I see, Sam, that you're proudly wearing that beautiful, beautiful hat. Welcome to the show. Again, big thank you to the guys at the Jumper Punch for making this platform available for us. In today's episode, well, we'll talk about what today's episode is, but how you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you every week, same time. Good afternoon to everyone, or good morning, wherever you are watching us, and welcome to the Change Room, where we talk about pretty much anything and everything in the Change Room on for one mission and one mission only, to give you that change, that value, to help better your life in some way, somehow, be it in sports, in relationships, work, you name it. So welcome to who's joining us. Hey, Rocco. Thanks for everything. That's amazing. So we're really enjoying these episodes every weekend, Rash and myself. And we've got a very interesting topic. Now, I didn't want to say this last week, but we've got some really interesting stuff that we wanted to share with you. I mean, I don't want to mention everything, but we're going to be talking.
Stop it. Just one thing I noticed, we're both representing today. So I've got the Stronger t-shirt, Stronger Together, representing the Blues. Not that they did well last week, but we'll forgive them on that. Whilst you mentioned, and you did mention Rocco, and Rocco's watching, I'm just going to put on something just quickly and then just sort of get this out of the way. Well, not get it out of the way, but did you get that? You didn't catch that one, did you? Because it's part of what we're going to talk about.
I caught it.
No, are you sure?
Yeah, but are you sure you want to actually put it up now?
Okay. So there it is, right? So the boys are going to do a live event. So the Jumper Punch live event, it's on June 15, 6:30. All the information is there. Go out and see these guys. These guys are stars. These are for our friends in Melbourne. Go out and see it. We love what they do. Seriously, they've just got an amazing, amazing show. So, yeah. Sam, back to you.
Yeah, man. So, well, quick shout out to the guys as well. Jumper Punch show. I mean, I tune in pretty regularly, and something I really admire, Rich, I'm not sure if you picked up on it, is these guys have some really long ass chats. Like, we're talking 2, 3, 4 hours, and I'm like, wow, how did they manage to do it? And the only conclusion I came to was, they must be really passionate about the sport, the game, the players, like super, super passionate. You know, the super fans.
They're super fans, and they're super intelligent. And it's a variety show. It's super entertainment. Again, super, super, super. Now, let's get into the show, right? So today's show is about. Do you like the way anyway? So today's show is about. I can see you're impressed. About be careful about your words, and we're going to give you some examples of what that means, right? And why it's important. You know, usually we're talking about neuroscience and different things and how to improve yourself, and you might be thinking, be careful with my words. How's that going to improve me? Well, your words can become actions, right? So what you think is what you say, and then what you say can become actions, right? It creates an emotion. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about some examples that people use when using their words that could make it positive, negative, and mostly sometimes people might be doing it. Most people are doing it unconsciously. Question is, what we're trying to reveal here is that by listening to what we're saying now, you might uncover some things that you've been saying, or you might just, after the show you might start to say something and go, oh my God, I didn't realize I said that. How do I change that? How do I become better? And you'll see that by changing your words, which ultimately changes your thoughts, can change your life. Okay? So go ahead, my man.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I mean, I've from the people that I've studied and the content itself about like people using words in a specific way, especially from the world of NLP where we come from, right, Rash, among neuro-linguistic programming,
Hmm.
it's really the words, the thoughts that you have initially before you actually speak those words. Some people think and speak almost at the same time, whereas some people obviously, think about their words before they come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And words can be very, very powerful in directing people, giving them suggestions to do something. And I love it when people say, I'd like to give you some advice, like if I were you.
Yeah, if
And
I was you,
whenever I hear if I was you,
I
I
would do.
completely get turned off. Yeah, I get turned off because you're not me. So it just simply says, that's what the person wants to get out of their system, and because there's no responsibility on them, right? So they're increasing the responsibility on you by saying, "If I were you," right?
But
And
what about words like to be honest? When someone says, "Hey, look, to be honest," like, are we saying that you're not honest in general? I mean, that's the funny thing.
I see those. I see those as filler statements. We're going to be covering a few statements that people say. We all use them, and I call them filler statements because that other person wants to try to build a bridge between them and other people in a discreet way. So we build a little bridge to fill in a filler word that says to be honest, like weren't you honest before? So that's
There's
the
a
that
comment here from Lana also, just for info. Like, this is a good one too. Well, if I were you, is something her mother says. Immediately.
Yeah, you know what it sounds like when someone says if I were you. It's almost like I said, they don't have any responsibility. So
Yeah.
they keep the responsibility off them and just say something like, "If I were you, I would behave that way, or I would have said this." Okay, and it's kind of like saying, I'm saying it's kind of like saying, "Well, sorry, you have that problem, and I'm happy that it's not mine."
So what about this comment here, Stan? Sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but I think you're probably best in answering that, because so why do we need to have those words which call us to react in a negative way? And I think that's, well, you can answer that.
Well, it's not a it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative way. Like I said, they're filler statements. A lot of human beings in interactions, conversations, don't want to leave pauses because they're afraid of pauses. They feel sometimes awkward when you pause or go silent. So we throw in filler words, which is why I call them filler words. It's filling in that void to make you feel a little bit more comfortable when speaking to other people. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing, but we were just giving some examples. Like you could say
So
something
it's
like,
the way. Is it the way you process that information without getting into too much detail, like the way you process it, whether you're going to take it negatively or positively, is based on your thoughts and your conditioning. I don't want to get too philosophical on it, but I would say that's the case, wouldn't you say?
it does, but
Wouldn't you say?
you well, listen, I mean, that's I wouldn't say. I would say something else right now if you would
Ah,
just
there you
hear
go.
me. So, but if I were to say, I'd say that I think people use it because there seems to be, like I said, weird pauses and gaps in a conversation where it seems awkward if you don't say something to kind of connect or bridge that communication with another person. Like I said, it doesn't have to be negative, but has anyone wondered, like when we say honestly speaking, right? Like needless
What
to
about,
say,
yeah? What
you know,
about with all due respect?
with all due
Like, well, you're just trying to. All due respect is that you're trying to say something, but what does it really mean? Like, yeah, but I don't know if we can go into society. To be honest,
It's also
Sam, you can't go into society thinking exactly, and it's like someone says, "Would you like to see my car?" Right? As an example. Am I saying, "Would I like you to see the car," or am I saying, "I would like to show you the car"? See the difference?
Yes, but let's also remember where it's coming from, because there's, the other person is trying to create rapport. So when you say something like, I didn't want to mention it earlier and now I will, then it just seems odd. Why didn't you mention it earlier? Like, why didn't you speak up?
Might
So
not be
it
the
is a
right time. Might not be the right time.
could be, but it's like normally when people say needless to say, like, then why are you saying it, right? So
What does that mean? What does
but
needless
that's
mean?
also a bridge. Yeah, but there's also a bridge, Rash. Bridge. People also want to connect with other people, right? So those filler statements can be very useful in certain contexts. We all use them, by the way. Like when we say, like, honestly speaking.
Have you seen the media when they say it's like they'll say an incursion, right? You know what an incursion means?
Yeah.
It's a nicer way to say that we're going in there. We're taking over, So
Media is really powerful. They're
so
geniuses
powerful.
at using words to describe something in a very political way, very diplomatic way, obviously. And as human beings, generally speaking, unconsciously, we do the same thing. We actually do the same thing because we don't want to harm anybody. We want to come in like with peace, and those filler statements can be quite useful when they're used consciously, like when you really strategically want to use those words to connect with other people.
Yeah. There's a comment here also from Gina on another aspect. Is that person bragging, pushing boundaries? I don't get it. In another aspect, what does that mean? Can you read that?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand it. I don't know exactly, unless you give us, Gina, like a context. Like, is there a
In
specific?
another aspect, is the person bragging, pushing boundaries? Well, maybe I've seen something, missed out on something before. But I think we also, imagine like this. That's why I think positive motivation is always important. But imagine like one of the players plays a shit game, right? And the coach is brutally honest. You cannot be sometimes brutally honest. That's okay. It happens. Let's move on, right? And he
Some people
says,
can some people can take that, and to be honest with you, there are certain
to
cultures
be
around the
honest,
world.
yeah,
There's
you're
certain
not
cultures.
honest.
Yeah, there's certain cultures around the world where they prefer you to be direct. I can name
And
some
the
countries.
opposite for some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can name some countries where they prefer that you're direct. The more you put these pleasantries, these filler gaps, these bridges, seem to be, just a waste of time and energy for the other person. So, but those are cultural
So
as
like
well.
Germany, they're quite direct, and they're known to be
Pretty
direct. And
direct.
then
Same
go
with
to the
Turkey. Same thing with Turkey. But listen, I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but listen, could you put up that Word document so we can see some of those statements?
which word document you're talking about?
Yeah, remember the one
Oh,
that
what
had
you
the
sent me
statements?
today?
Yeah, pop it up
All right, it's cool. I'll take the
if you want
command.
to. Good.
There you go.
So here you have it. Needless to say, it goes without saying, as you might expect, with all due respect, it's not worth mentioning, but if I were you. So every statement, you could feel it when you say it. Every statement has a certain feeling. Like I said, some statements do a nice job in bridging that space together to come closer to another person. If you want to
Yeah.
share some more news, and some have the power to, repel, obviously, right? Like some people in Western societies, when you tell them, like, let me be brutally honest, it may come across as saying, why weren't you brutally honest earlier? Like that may set off some alarms, and so in other countries and cultures, they may, they wouldn't even think anything of it, right? We just kind of fill it in, we keep talking. But the power of language, the way we use them, can cut like a knife. Like it can get you, it can bring you closer together, or it can disconnect you. And it's knowing when to use that language and with which culture will help a lot.
No, I understand that. So adapting to different cultures, but in the end, right? If you look at it, and again from a philosophical point of view, I'm going to put a comment up from Gina. I think she's explained. But in the end, can words really hurt you? They can't. They're just words. So,
well, if you put it in that
how does
context,
that word hurt you? You know what I mean? So, I
well,
mean,
if you put it in that context, Rash, if you put it in the context and pre-frame it that way, then no, words can't, if you think about it. But for the most part, and you know this as well as I do, that a lot of people are moving around the world subconsciously, in autopilot. So when you throw a word and they're not expecting it, and that word, signifies or triggers a certain situation, experience in their life, then you've just lost a client, a friend, and it can be very, very powerful because that word carries energy as well, right? Especially the way it's said.
all right. I'm going to put Genius comment here. So, see, maybe we can decipher this. Meaning, are they trying to say he's got a new car? Are they like throwing it in your face? It's how you interpret the words. Yeah, it is. So, based on what your is the word presupposition, like the way you think of something before. So if that person is saying, hey, look, I got the new car, and you know that the guy is a bit like this, then the way you look at it is like, okay, they're just trying to shove it in my face or whatever, but
Could be.
could
Could
be
be.
that, could be, it's really it's could be anything. Yeah. So
It could be, but the fact of the matter is that words do have that power. They carry energy, and when specific words are said in a specific way with an intention to harm, that they could hurt. And I'm focusing on the keyword of intention to harm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But you could also, having said that, you can have someone that's going to have the intention to hurt, and depending who they are, if it's a family member, it's a bit different. But you can also block that noise too. So I look at like football teams. Like this week, we lost, and everyone's going. Well, not everyone. A lot of people saying they're done, right? That they're done, but that doesn't mean they're done. But it's someone's point of view, and imagine if the players or they allow it to get to them.
Yeah.
So here's the point, and that's the whole point with the mind fitness stuff. That's why elite performance is so important. That what was that?
A bunch of water bottles just dropped in
By
my room.
themselves?
Well, they were triggered by someone opening the door, and then it hit the case of water and it dropped. Anyways, yeah.
But the wind blew it, or do you think maybe you got that little ghost there in your room?
No, my son came into the room, and yeah, like he tried to do it very discreetly. It didn't work out in the end, right?
That's funny. I didn't do it. That's funny. All right, cool. So I think we've got the point across pretty clear. And I look, if there's any comments or tell us. But I think it's super powerful, and if you're careful about it, and this is the whole lesson out of today. I mean, is just be careful about your words. You know what I mean? This is one of the funny things when I look at TikTok, and I'm mentioning TikTok, but like that's the platform where anyone does anything, any thinking and whatever. So, and if you want to see how people think without thinking, check out TikTok. But yeah, your words
I
can
would say,
inspire.
I
Your
would
words
say,
can,
Rich, I would say it's not so much about your words. Just be more conscious about your thoughts. I think that it's really coming down to the quality of your thinking, because your thoughts will determine whether you should say something, and if so, in what way.
okay, fair point. Yeah, well, thoughts lead to emotions, and emotions is you know you don't.
Thoughts
Uh,
leads to words, Rich. Thoughts lead to words, right? You're thinking something, you want to communicate. So do you do it, or do you just hold back and remain silent? It's an inner game. Everything is an inner game. If you're
can I?
thinking, like I said, there are certain people that have they just blurt out, do you know anyone who just blurts out almost anything and everything? It's almost like there's no filter inside, a conscious filter that says, hold on, don't say that. Did you
Well,
think about it before you
I think
said it?
Rocco does that sometimes with his rants. To be honest, he does it with his rants. He just lets loose. But I mean, it's a bit contrived. But sometimes if he loses it, he loses it.
Yeah. No, what I would suggest, and just before you take Gina's comment off, she's right. She's right. Words are extremely powerful, and how you receive them and how you deliver them. Absolutely right. But going back to the comment and people that kind of like talk and stuff, if you pre-frame stuff, and when I say pre-frame, it's actually, setting the context, and informing people in advance of the way you deliver your content or your speech or the style of which you communicate, then I think people become a little bit more accepting, because you've kind of warned them in a very friendly way to say, listen, we may be saying some swear words here. Occasionally, we may get pissed off or frustrated. You may or may not like what we have to say, but we're going to say it anyways. And so if you notice, we pre-frame that at the beginning of every show that we have, right, Rash?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, we do that.
Because we want to get it out there, that, we're going to be talking sometimes about some serious subjects, sometimes about playful subjects, lighthearted, um, you know, talking about all sorts of stuff. And that could, whoever's watching doesn't know the premise of the show, then it gets people, it may trigger someone. And now, of course, we don't want that to happen, but we do have to inform you in advance that if you are watching, then and any of these words like colorful words, or the word boobies, or other colorful metaphors disturb you, then fuck off.
My God, there might be kids watching it, Sam. You need to frame it.
Well, hey, it was already framed at the beginning, right? So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. All right. You should have went beep first. Oh God, you're funny.
So here we go.
So it says here, Gina saying, so basically think before you say, so that you regret. Sam, you just described me. Okay, very good.
Well, my comment is to Gina, what are you going to do about it? Do you want to continue that way, which is absolutely fine, right? Your life, your choice, or not?
Hey, this is one of our favorite guys has just sent a comment. The guy with two Italian names, Enzo Valentino.
You keep referring to him with the guy with two first names. Like, Rash, what's up with that? Like, Enzo, man, is a straight up G, man. He's a great guy, tunes in. He's giving listen, he's set some time out of his very busy day, because he's been flat out. He's been flat out for the past, I don't know, week or so. So he's finding it a little bit difficult to keep up with all the shows. And so we want to be welcoming to Enzo. Welcome, Enzo. Anytime you wish to join us on the show when you're free, please do so. We welcome you with open arms. And if there's anything that you want to say to Rash because he calls you the guy with two first names, then just tell him two words. You know what they are.
No, Valentino's a name and Enzo's a name. That's all. It just comes to my world, That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So here we go. Those are the powers of words. We were just talking, using just words, right?
So then how does the football team, I'm sure this week, what's happened is they're getting plastered out there. They're because we got thrashed by Sydney last week, So, right. And to be honest, I don't think they really turned up. We were just outclassed, really, really outclassed. And we got, we could say we got injuries and stuff, but I'm sure that the they haven't gone on a full hunt because there's other people in the spotlight.
Right.
But definitely, we're getting a bit of flack on that. And the key is, to be honest, is being in that change room and making sure that you cut off the noise. Now that's the thing. It could be feedback, because when someone says something to you, you could be unconsciously going, we've had the chats before where you go, you're looking for it, and I'm going, we're looking for something, a pattern, and I'm like, no, I'm not, and you go, no, you are, and I'm like, shit, you know what? I didn't even think about it. So your words have a powerful way of directing people and pushing them in a positive way, but they can also go negative. So how do we train the brain to deal with that?
Yeah, no,
that's
for
what.
sure. For sure. But listen, I mean, I think people are like they have enough sense to know like whether this is a complete stranger and he's saying something, and they have every right to retaliate and say, hey, you know, who you calling, you know, so and so. So it's not so much about that. There's a there's an approach that you can take if you really want to become like more thick skinned. It does require a little bit of practice, but
Well, what is it?
everyone does have a threshold. Like, you know, going back to, at least I can only speak for myself, but I've heard, I would say, pretty much almost everything under the sun. So nothing really phases me. Like, you know, I've been called names, I've been called a whole bunch of stuff I don't even want to talk about here. And right now it's kind of like, yeah, get over it. Like, doesn't mean anything in my world. That's the filter, right? Now, if someone does get out of their way to kind of like offend me, just out of the blue, of course I'm going to retaliate. It's the rational, you know, part and common sense to say, listen, buddy, that's unacceptable. You know, like, who gives you the
Yeah.
right to do that, right?
But
Especially
will
if
it
you're
affect you
invested.
after that? No, but will it affect you after that, or depends on who it is?
It depends. Yeah, that's the thing. It depends on who's actually, you know, delivering this. You know, is it a close friend, someone you know for like 15, 20 years? Is it just a complete stranger? You know, obviously the context matters, right? But words have the power to really, you know, affect your day, you know, to influence you. And that does require practice on how to, you know, you know, receive uh, you know, negative words, phrases, bad news, you know,
Can,
because it's going to come. It's going to come.
can I tell you what I think is the secret sauce, or that overpowers everything? I think the word love, right? Love conquers all. I'm telling you, it's the thing. When you start loving yourself for who you are, even with your deficiencies and everything else, love conquers all. You love yourself not to get upset. You wake up in the morning, you love yourself, you take care of yourself. You'll take care of your thinking to make sure your thinking is clean. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's practices you can do. There's
That's very
meditation, there's
powerful.
affirmations, a whole bunch of different things to help you, and surround yourself with good people, right? Or watch shows like this, right? So like that gives you a positive outlook for the day. That's essentially what we're trying to do. You know,
Yeah,
just to
for
say, you
sure.
know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Well,
comment here. I'm just looking at the
pop it
time
up.
too.
Pop it up. Where at me every day. I work in public transport. I train my mind to switch off, but some days are really challenging. Yep. Yep. Totally agree. I think Enzo, you know, really describes the majority of people, really. But I like to break it down into like, you know, is this rational or irrational? Sometimes you just need a kick in the butt. You really do,
Yeah, but
especially in the world of
explain
sports.
what rational and irrational means. Just
So
in
so
case.
rational where it's acceptable, in the sense that, listen, no
It's
bad
warranted.
word is, listen, no bad word is acceptable. We're not saying that. We're saying that sometimes you need to kick up the butt, and it comes very harsh. But in my world, these kind of things are needed, and I would call them rational. Irrational, you know, would be an instance of irrational would be a context where someone, a complete stranger, or someone who doesn't know you well enough, just comes out and blurbs out and calls you out, and says something negative. Like, you shouldn't spend, you know, more than 1.5 seconds on that at all, because it means nothing to you. It has
But
no
it's
weight, no bearing.
their own perception. That's their own baggage that they're trying to put onto you. So then,
Exactly.
why are
They're
we
project.
accepting? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
usually feedback for you. If you get offended by it, or you take it negatively, then it usually means that you need to work on yourself,
All
because
the time, all the time. We always need work on ourselves. It's something that needs to be practiced. I mean, that's the whole point of this show. It's like to remind people, you know, like the thoughts that you think you're having, you know, what's the quality of your thoughts or your thinking? Is it mostly negative? Like, do you always ruminate about negative hallucinations and negative things all the
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
If it is, then it's likely that that will cause you to do more negative behavior. That's all that it is. It's all neuroscience.
So,
Like, the more you
if,
think of negativity, the more
yeah,
you're inclined or influenced to do something negative, or perhaps say more bad words. Okay, it's a general rule. But the more you have more pleasant thoughts, something a little bit more positive, something inviting, then it's likely that you're going to invite better opportunities your way, experiences, situations, friends.
so how
That's
do you
what I mean by bridging the gap. When you
and pivot
bridge the gap with someone through
and
the words you use.
yeah, and pivoting. So every time you have that thought where it's negative, you say to yourself, "No, I'm not going to
But
entertain
that,
that."
but that requires practice, Rich. Like, we're coming on once a week. I wish we could do this like 3 days in the week. This requires practice, brother.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I know it requires practice, and even for the best of us. And here's the thing, like I was thinking about the footy. Um, these guys that'd be down on what they did, I'm sure some of them would be negative. That's why it's so keen to see that the way a team bounces back from, let's call it a temporary failure, right? Because last week we like this week we've got a big game, right? So it'll be really, really interesting to see how they bounce back, because that is testament to the team, to the people, etc., to the mindset of what they've got inside that change room, right? Is that how they're going to approach it? So
I do an
I
audit. I
never too
would I
late.
would listen, if I was the coach, I would do an audit. I would audit the team basically on the quality of their thinking. Literally, let's have an honest, sincere chat and understand what are they really thinking about? Are they pressured? Are they nervous all the time? Are they hesitant? Are they scared? You know,
We
so
call them cardiac
because
calmness. Yeah,
emotions drive behavior. Rash, all emotions drive behavior. So before winning a game, find out what like, do an audit on people, an audit or a energy diagnostic
yeah,
on
that's the
people.
point. Yeah. The guy that we spoke to a little while ago, a couple of years ago. Do you remember that guy, Sean, the
Yeah,
Australian neuroscience? Well, he used to work with Coach Ross Lyon. So he worked at the Fremantle Football Club, and he worked at Saints, and everywhere that Ross Lyon went, the coach, he'd go with him, and that's what he did. He did an energy audit, and this is the I always beat this down to the importance of having a mental coach or people that understand that. Like, he's come in. I remember him telling us he'd do an energy audit. Remember he
yeah, I
discussed that with
remember
me.
that. I
And he
remember.
goes, I do an energy audit on the team and work out what their energy levels are. He'd know before they go on the ground if they're going to go out there
Genius,
and tackling machines or whatever it is.
freaking
Most clubs
genius.
don't have that. It's such a shame. I'm going to put another comment up. Here we go. Well, if I can get it going, yeah. Yeah,
But the older I became, the more calm I became and less offended. Yeah. Yeah, same here, Enzo.
does
It's like
that.
you
Yeah,
kind of figured it out. You kind of figured it out, and you kind of know who to invest your time with and who to entertain, and who to say, get out of here, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, we're getting a whole bunch of comments. What's this? That's it. How did we train the brain to turn off when every day is a challenge? Well, the word when you're saying every day is
You
a
don't turn
challenge, what
off.
it is? Yeah, it's not turning it off.
Well, first of all, you're right, Rash. You caught that. Well spotted, mate. It's when you said it's a challenge, then obviously now it becomes a challenge.
Yeah,
And like all challenges, you feel like there's a lot of effort now that's spent or energy being, put towards this. So the first thing I would say is just a general kind of approach would be audit your thoughts. Like, sincerely ask yourself, what are my thoughts? Like, are they more positive or are they more negative? Just do a quick inventory of your thinking, and then start from there, and then see how you can start to put yourself in situations and consume content from people both online and offline that make you feel a little bit more pleasant, you know And that would be the very first step that I would, tell my clients, if I'm, they're in passing and I don't have enough time to work with them, is just like do a quick inventory or an audit of what is your current thinking capacity in terms, like, what kind of thoughts do you think about?
What do
Are
we
they
need to
more?
change? And here's the thing. What's a simple thing that I've realized is that when you clean up like around you, so your house or your room or wherever you're staying, and that's clean, and making sure you're taking care of that already, that starts working on your unconscious mind. There's little techniques that you can do. One, of course, like what you said with the consuming content, surrounding yourself with good people, being aware of, oh shit, I just said it's a challenge every day, or it's, oh my god, life is tough, or whatever it is, right? What am I doing about it? Right? Who am I reaching out to? How am I making today a pleasant day? Am I coming up with the day today and going, fuck it, today my intent is I'm going to have a fucking amazing day, right? Or am I going in and going, back on the horse, it's tough, etc. You know what? Unfortunately, sometimes we play the victim, and I've been guilty of that. I put my hand up. You know that, Sam. We've coached each other, both of us. Oh yeah, nah, it's like this or whatever it is, right? But the key is to have good people around you to say to you, hey, you know what? You're looking for that problem, or don't let your past dictate your future. You know what I mean? So like, how do we
Company.
start today? Like,
Yeah.
what do we need to do? What do I need to do to change my life? So when you start asking those questions, sorry, I'm just getting comfortable. When you start asking those questions and you ask the right questions, things start changing. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
anyway, thought I'd just share that. There's a couple more comments. There's Colin here. Let's see what Colin's saying. Kicking opposite foot brings a feeling of negativity, so it does my head in. If in that they don't practice, I sort of get what he's saying, Colin. So what he's saying is that it's the repetition, and if I'm correct, it's like trying something new for the first time, right? So kicking the opposite foot. The more that you practice, the more you're going to get better at it. It might do your head in at the start, but
Sounds
you got
like
to
that.
try different things. I think that's the thing. There's
Yeah.
another comment here. If you knew today was your last day on earth,
Fuck no. I would do something completely different, something completely new. 100%.
fuck, is that so amazing? Do you know when you that could be a topic of a conversation when the back is to the wall or you've been given a situation. How many times have you seen stories where there's someone's given a situation, they've got, sorry to say, they've got cancer, they've got uh, whatever it is, right? And then
Disease.
they have to step up because they have to step up. Now, I've been told stories. I don't know if you've heard this one where, you know, a kid was run over by a car, but like you just on top of him, and the woman that could no way lift the car, out of nowhere, has lifted the car to release the kid, because where does that strength come from? Like in every normal days, there's no fucking way she would lift that thing. There's so many of those stories that and people sometimes they go, how the hell does she do it or he do it? You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. It's
Crazy.
mindset, and it's mindset
Crazy.
so fucking powerful.
Crazy stories about that.
All right, so here's Gina again. Yeah, it's like 3 steps, and with half a hit, you're gone again. Very hard to keep positive when when so much is crumbling. Now, Gina's situation is a little bit different, I guess, but we've reached out to her before. I think she should probably reach out to us on a separate note. But yeah, it's not easy what you're going through. I totally understand. We have empathy towards that. So, but and we all have challenges. There's no one that hasn't gone through challenges. Everyone, every single one. It could be the richest guy in the world, or it could be, the best football player, or whatever it is. Everyone goes through different challenges. This is how we deal with it, right?
Yes.
And then what resources we're going to go out there to get. So, challenges like our football club, they're getting challenges at the moment. We're hoping that in the future they'll reach out to us and get the resources to help them on making them energy audits and that sort of stuff to help them go next level. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Cool.
Anything else?
We're up at I think 40 minutes right now, eh, Rash?
Yeah. No, we are. I just want to say a couple of things before we go. From last week, this thing that we showed, and just want to if I can, well, I show it. That Coke thing that we did last week got such a big what's it called response, which was pretty great.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
And Rocco and the boys put it on their show, which was really good. It's amazing. What you want to see, you will see. And then, just like everything, I think we're all, without getting too deep, I think we're all hypnotized in ways and programmed, and we just need to unprogram that. And once we unprogram stuff, you will see that life changes. And
be intentional. Be intentional. What I would say actually is a kind of a quick summary of everything. Be intentional with the thoughts that you get. Like, be intentional of having a good day. Or what I think it was Cole who said, if it was your last day, be intentional.
Colin.
Because tomorrow, or is it Colin? Sorry. To say, if it was your last day, what would you think? What would you do? How would you act? How would you behave? And if you put it in that reframe, that context, you'd be more purposeful about and more intentional about how you want to live, the people who you want in your life. And I think that's a good start to getting a taste. To getting a taste.
Everything's about reframing anyway. Hey, listen, I know we're going to wrap up soon. I'm just going to put up just talk about the shows that come on and also promote this for our friends. So again, guys, the Jumper Punch live event. There's the details there.
How can we join? How can we join, Rich? Like, do I need to fly to Oz to attend this?
Yeah, you would. I think it's going to be live on streaming, but tickets are pretty cheap. They're $20. Table is $55. 6:30, June 15th. It's around the corner. So go out there and support our brothers. They do a wonderful job. They give us this platform. We thank them. Absolutely. The other thing is the shows that are on Blue Sunday, which is with Vince and Joe, and then the Hyphen, which is David Rhys-Jones. That's on every Sunday. They do an amazing way of dissecting the game of the week. And what a pleasure to have someone like David Rhys-Jones. You don't know who David Rhys-Jones is, my friend.
I'll pretend that I do. I'll pretend that I do.
Pretend you do. With the Carltons. Yeah. I mean, he's a Norm Smith medalist. And God. And then we've got Monday, I think now, doubles on Monday, which is good. We've got Tuesdays, we've got the main show, the Jumper Punch. Wednesdays, we have Forever Rivals. Thursdays is us. And Around the Burbs, I think is another program. It's on Wednesday, but a little bit earlier. But that's a really good sort of like street talk type show. I'm going to just run through a couple of comments, and then we'll sign off. So, like my brother, any day, all he wants to spend time with his kids. Also, Baggers and Storms to win. Go Baggers. I hope we win this week. Big shout out to Lana that celebrated her birthday a couple of days ago. Happy birthday, Lana.
Happy birthday, Lana.
Plenty of food for thought. Isn't it? That's another word that's a play on words. Yeah. Our friend Rocco. Yeah. Get on board, guys. Well, we'd love to. I might. Yeah, I'm going to come for sure to the live show. But Sam, maybe because Rocco's listening, like show takes off and they take off and they get a sponsor, and maybe the audiences that we're going from 100 views to 1,000 views to 2,000 views.
I think we should come up with a new hashtag.
They'll invite you to come in.
Yeah, we'll come up with a new hashtag. Fly Sam to Australia. Hashtag. Help Sam fly to Australia, please.
Oh God, that's funny. Well, yes. Well, you got an invite there.
I would love to. You never know.
I'm just going to read out the last few, and then we'll wrap up. So I have a wedding to attend that night. contemplating saying no and secretly going to the live show. I really want to be there. And so he's fantastic. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Anyway, look, there is so many comments. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the comments. I can't go through all of them, seriously. But
That's awesome.
What a show. I hope you guys liked it. We're here to really, really give as much value as we can. I'm just going to put our socials on, if I may, just quickly. So maybe you can do that and run through that.
Right. So you can find us on Instagram. And for those who use LinkedIn, I don't know. I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. It's a little bit more of a serious place or a business platform, but you can find me there as well. Just my first name Sam and my last name is Eid, E-I-D. So you can find me over there. And yeah, so have we got Sam a membership? He wears the cap so well. Oh, thanks, Lana. Come on, see? Hashtag fly Sam to Australia. Hashtag help Sam fly to get to Australia.
We've got to get you to a game. We've got to get you to the game. And then if we get you to a game, I'm just afraid that if we get seriously, if we get you to a game, you're gonna have to deal with the audiences of seriously, like it's cardiac Carlton these days. Really, every game they're just like, it's like 1 point, 5 points. We lose by it is like heart going nuts. Anyway, on that note, guys, please like, share. You know the drill. We love doing this show on a weekly basis, and we love the support. We really, really appreciate that. And having said that, on that note, we're going to go out of here and we're going to say go Blues, and we're hopefully going to beat the Gold Coast Suns this week.
Don't forget the outro. Don't forget the outro.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.